time period, you've got it tough for displaying pines because you don't want to take off your old needles because you've got the new candles that are going to be cut off, hopefully for this area probably in the beginning of July. Because you're going to have a long growing season after that. If you cut them back too early, you're going to get them replaced with big, long candles again, and those are the ones that become the new branches. So for our show, you're going to have to get in there and do, clean up the bottom just a little bit. Don't remove a whole lot. Now, on a candle like this, I probably would take a few of these off that are long, as long as they have another candle next to them. So this one has one that's half the size and very small stem. So if you went cherry pick through here a little bit, you'll get rid of the heavier ones, have the finer ones back there that you can then cut back. But leave a stem on those candles so they don't start to reproduce the new ones right away. You still want to hold back on them, so leave a little longer stem. So that would help, just in a few places here and there. You just look through it. And then it's better. This one, nice. This is an aged pot. Look at the age in this pot. Look at the maturity of it. It's been touched and handled for a long time. A beautiful little foot here, much nicer than a flat foot. And this foot is so refined, it starts to show off more of the refinement that's in the tree above. My one big bugaboo on this, and on many of these trees, I don't know where people started it. We have some of this creeping into a few other places too. Somebody's selling this big lava rock for top dressing. If you put this tree out in the field, and it was a big tree that you're walking out to see, these boulders would be this big. You'd be climbing over them to get to the tree. When you don't want to see the boulders, you want to see something that's just soft and refined. You also have to watch, and this is tough, sometimes daily, but you've got to very carefully get rid of all this moss that is creeping up the tree because it keeps the moisture next to the bark, and you're going to lose all the beautiful bark that the pines are known for. This is what you don't want to have happen. So the inside, you can see there's more flakiness in there and a little bit down here, but I'm afraid when you get in there, you're not going to have a whole lot. You're never going to have it if you don't get rid of it now. I usually wet it, sit down, when no cup of coffee, there's no angst in there, you want something calming, maybe a nice beer, a glass of wine. You could kind of, in the wine it would be easier to dip your tweezers in there. And you get a new note of something in that, but pulling this off, you just grab it and you pull it and you just shake a little bit. Just don't, and if you get, that's why you can't do coffee. If you get to the point where I just got to get this done, walk away from it. Come back the next day or the next week. Just get it off of there, okay? And just be careful. Make sure it stays back. A lot of the moss, when the show's over, if we've laid it down, I'll pull it off. If you want to just grow a moss garden, go ahead and do that. Have a pot that you can grow some of your moss on so it's ready for next year. But what happens? Next year it's really thick, it's too clunky, it's rolling, so it's better. You don't have problems growing moss down here, so I wouldn't worry about it. But all through the year, especially on any tree, even the junipers where you're not peeling the bark, and I don't want every piece of bark on some junipers peeled. Some of them need their bark because they're too young. A real quick thing on this, somebody at our collection, who will remain unnamed, this is in California, one of our gentlemen brought in a tree, and he does absolutely wonderful work. His bunjins are exquisite. And he had this beautiful juniper bunjin. It was so tall, so thin, so elegant. And it had this rich amount of bark on it, and it looked like it could have been 150 years old. And several people came in a few days later, and every bit of that bark had been cleaned off of it. Oh. And the person that did it said, and this person knows better, said, I cleaned it off because junipers aren't supposed to have bark. I was ready to clean his bark off.
Yeah.
So we've taken it offline. I mean, it just makes it look like an 18-year-old tree, maybe
Right.
12.
Right.
It just took it away. So what this one also needs, if you can get a tree like this and you can afford a pot that's under it, you can certainly find a stand that's,
Yeah, this
I
was-
know it's a club tree, but I'm just saying, whoever has this, you put that kind of money into things, you need to start investing in a stand that is really worth going after. Because there's so much maturity in there, it's just a shame to have it sitting on that.
Yeah, this was an extra tree that got brought in that his other stands are already out.
Used, okay. I can understand that.
That's a nice